Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Apologies for no video last week, basically been super busy. However, this video is going to be a pretty big one. I've been planning this for probably a couple of months in terms of the gear that's in it, but also, you know, it's taken me a while to kind of write this one together. As you know, I'm a big fan of the Canon EOS M50. I love the camera, it's so versatile. Obviously having a flip out rotating LCD screen is super good for vlogging on the go, but also the ability to record in all of the various formats of 1080 as well as 4K essentially means that it's a very versatile camera for kind of semi-pro uses. In order for me to get the most out of this camera, I've built a versatile rig. Essentially that means that I can add things, remove things really quickly to be able to adapt to any situation. My main focus for this rig was adaptability. Throughout this you will see probably things you might not agree with, but for me this build was based around things that I found that I needed the longer that I was learning and the more things that I was doing. By no means is this a definitive list of every attachment and possibility that you should use or could use for the EOS M50, but again, this is pretty much my setup now. So first up, you know the setup. Yeah, I know that it's here, not there. This is being recorded on my Huawei P20 Pro, so if it looks crap, apologies. You know the setup, so you've got the EOS M50, you've got the Viltrox adapter, and then you've got the EFS 18 to 135mm lens. Super versatile lens, because obviously it goes all the way out to 135, all the way back to 18, has autofocus and image stabilizer, which is super handy and super underrated, because when you're not using an M-mount lens on this camera, the actual kind of digital stabilization that the EOS M50 has does not work. That might just be because I've got a shit adapter, maybe, who knows. So this rig all started out with the newer shoulder rig. So this was a cheap, I think 35–40 pound rig that I purchased from Amazon when I first got this camera. I say first got this camera when I first started getting into videography. I was exploring all the different ways of stabilizing my camera, and I found that the shoulder rig was probably the first place that I should look. So I bought it. It comes with 4 rails, a shoulder pad, a bracket for it, Manfrotto plate for the top, and 2 handles. Now, if you look at the size of this, when you're thinking, you know, run and gun, this probably isn't really the kind of thing that you want to be using. So I scrapped this straight away and I stopped using the shoulder rig. And then I was like, okay, so how can I adapt this, you know, with the rails to have all of the rest of it? So the first thing I picked up was the small rig base plate. So the small rig base plate, part number 1674, I will link it below. As you can see, this has your 2 rail points at the front, but obviously you've got mounting holes here. You know, small rig are great for having all of the little holes to attach everything, but also you've got mounts on the bottom, and I'll get a little bit more into that later. So this is one of the first things I picked up to be able to use some of those rails and whatnot. Now, what connects everything together is this Arca Swiss plate. I say everything, it's a few things together. So this is what goes on the bottom of the camera and what goes onto the base plate. So I can quickly remove the camera from the base plate with all of the accessories. Okay, so there we are. So that's it attached. That's pretty much the size that I deal with usually. So as you can see, Arca Swiss plate, small rig 1674 attached to the Canon M50. Adds a bit of weight. So for instance, this is a bit more stable now if you use it handheld like this. If you really wanted to just kind of use it like that, it works fine. The reason that I use these Arca Swiss plates is because I find they're probably the quickest and easiest thing for me anyway, just to be able to kind of pop it off really simply, nice and securely, clamps down onto there, and then for instance onto this tripod, onto my gimbal, or back onto this. So like I mentioned before, the shoulder rig came with rails. So what I'll do is I'll pop the rails in here, and then we will move on to the next part. Okay, so there you are, rails are on. So for instance, if you wanted to, you could mount batteries to the back, and then you can mount the follow focus and the handles to the front. So handles, what came with the original was this bar. I'm just going to pop that down for a minute. What came was this bar, which I've just kind of cannibalized here. The bar, 2 of these, so there's the other one, and then this part which attaches to the rails. So I'm going to pop this on and show you how I use it in a kind of handheld format before moving on to shoulder rig later on. So all we do, simply slide that on there. Essentially, there you go, look, you've got a side handle there, which is really really useful. Next up we have the follow focus system. This is essentially what you get in the pack. This is also from Newer. I really do kind of dig the stuff they put out for the price. So you've got the bit that slides over the rail, and then you've got the clamp that goes on the lens. So I'll pop that on and show you how I use it. In fact, before I do that, let's just make this whole thing a lot easier. You can probably see the tripod here. I'm just going to start sticking everything on the tripod. Okay, so pop this on here. So this is the clamp. This is a round focus ring. Okay, and then obviously you've got this bit. Oh, that's a horrible sound. Tighten it up. And there you go. So obviously this is more of a photography lens than a video lens, so the focus throw is quite short. Yeah, this then allows you obviously to handhold follow focus, which is really handy. So I found that's quite useful. Okay, so yeah, that's the follow focus and the handle. Okay, so now we're kind of moving on to attachments really. So that's more or less like the basis of the main rig. This top handle, super underrated piece of gear. So when this top handle is on, I put it on this way, that ain't coming off anywhere. So this allows you to get some better angles, you know, underneath like that when you're wanting to go down low to the ground. Super handy. Also has 1, 2, 3 cold shoes. It has a rail mount here. Oh, I don't have another rail. Essentially your rail could go through there, and then obviously you've got all of your various different screw holes as well. So with this top handle on, I can then attach my Rode Video Micro and my field monitor to this, so I'm going to do that now. I love how that literally just pings off the top of the frame there. This is just a simple Newer field monitor. It's a 7-inch, doesn't have any crazy LUTs or anything like that. It's literally for me to be able to just see at a different angle. Probably going to get a better monitor when I get my new camera. I'll go more into that at another point. Okay, so that's that on there. Let's grab the Rode Video Micro and pop that on the front. There we are, so that's it on the front. So this is probably the extent of my handheld rig now. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and take this off of here. So that's getting pretty heavy now. So when you start loading it out like that, you've got quite a bit of weight behind it. Like I say, you can always hold it at the side here. Most of the time obviously you'll be two-handing it, but you've also got this. You can still access the follow focus, you can still see the monitor as well, and you know, having this sun shield on it really helps. Let's get this back on there. Final part is the shoulder mount. So to be able to essentially whack this into a shoulder rig, it's just kind of 2 things you need to add. So the second handle for the right hand side and the shoulder pad for the back. Right, Newer shoulder pads on there. So this just secures like that. Again, this extends so you can move the shoulder pad backwards and forwards. Sort that one out there. Okay, and then just add the second handle on as well. And there you have your shoulder rig as well. When you're using this, I tend to use it on my left shoulder. So I've actually got a screen here, but then I can also pull this tension arm down and have the monitor right in front of me or below me like this, so I can look down like that, as well as being able to look up, or I can keep looking up as it is. So that is pretty much it, to be honest. That is the rig in itself. Like I say, this is super versatile, so I can really quickly pop this one off of here like so. You know, I could quickly pull the top LCD arm off as well, like so, and unplug it. So now, for instance, you've got a much smaller rig here. You know, this way you can easily set it down on a tripod if you need to. You've then really easily got your kind of follow focus rig here. If you really wanted to, from there you can then just grab the top handle and pull off the camera, and then you've got a little handheld rig as well. So benefit the M50 having that flip LCD screen. You don't need that external monitor as well. And you've got a nice underslung rig. Let's pop that back on there. Okay, so that pretty much sums it up for this video. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you didn't, then do you know what? Get subscribed. Don't forget to like the bell to stay notified every time I release a new video, and I will see you in the next one.